My name is Ondrej, and in this video, I'm gonna teach you how to build anything with MCP and Cursor, even if you are a complete beginner. The popularity of MCP is absolutely exploding. It's clear that this is going to be the next big thing. But just like with e-commerce or social media, most people are going to miss out. So don't be one of them. Watch until the end and start using MCP. Real quick, we just released Ultra Search. This is a new AI agent that takes deep research to the next level. Simply tell it what you're looking for and it will deliver personalized insights you won't find anywhere else. And the best part, you can start using it for free. So go to vectal.ai and sign up. Alright, let's start by opening Cursor and then opening an empty project. The next step is go to top left, click on Cursor, Settings, Cursor Settings. In here, you need to navigate to MCP, and this is where we're going to add our MCP servers. So in this video, I'm going to show you two. GitHub, which is obviously super powerful, and it can do all of these things. Then the second one is the one I'm really excited about, browser tools. That's why I would highly recommend you watch until the end, because just adding these two MCP servers makes Cursor 2 to 3 times better, and I'm not over exaggerating. So when you first open Cursor, obviously you will not have any MCP servers right here, which is fine. The setup is relatively simple. We're gonna start by setting up the GitHub MCP, right? So we're gonna use one of the most popular ones, which is from Smithery. And if you go in here, they have a lot of different MCP servers, but this one is the GitHub one, right? So what do we need to do to start using it? Well, we need a GitHub account. So go to github.com and click on sign up. This process is super easy, takes like 20 seconds. After you sign up, you will be redirected to the home page, but we need to go into the settings. So pay attention. Click on the top right on your icon, then navigate to settings. On the left, you need to scroll all the way down and find developer settings. Click on that and then click on personal access tokens. We're going to do a fine grained token, which lets us control how much access MCP has. So when we add it into Cursor, you probably don't want it to delete your repository, stuff like that. All of that is within your control. Let's click on fine grained tokens and generate new token. I'm going to name it Cursor MCP. Set the expiration date to whatever you want and scroll down. So I'm going to select all repositories and then we need to select the specific permissions. So this actually is very detailed, so you can really spend time and think, okay, what do I want Cursor to have access to, right? But to keep it simple, just follow what I'm doing. Administration, read and write, commit statuses, read and write, contents, read and write, and issues, read and write. Then scroll all the way down and click on generate token. Again, you can set any permissions you want. This is just what I selected for this video. When you are in here, go to the top right and click on login. And then you can connect with GitHub. Once you connect your GitHub account, you should see your logo in the top right. The next step then is to navigate to the GitHub MCP, which is this one. And then on the right side, you can select how you want to install it, right? So maybe use Windsurf, maybe use Klein. We are using Cursor in this video. And in here, you need to paste in your personal access token that you just generated. Now, warning, do this at your own risk. While Smithery AI is open source, you should still probably be careful using your main GitHub account where you have sensitive repositories. So the next step is to copy the token, go back to the MCP setup and paste it in here and click generate command. This will give us a command we can copy, which inside of Cursor, we can run and set up the MCP server. It's that simple. Like I'm telling you guys, this is crazy. Now, wait until you see the second MCP because this GitHub one is really, really useful, but the second one is just mind-blowing. So again, inside of Cursor, you need to go to Cursor Settings, and click on MCP. Then click on Add New MCP. Give it a name, so I'm going to just name it GitHub. And in the command field, we want to paste in this exact install command given to us by the setup. So paste it in here and click on Add. This is going to take a few seconds to connect. You can actually click the refresh file and then boom, there it is. When it's green, we can start testing out. So go to the Cursor agent. If you don't have it open, just press Command I, create a new chat and then say, create a new GitHub repo named Welcome YouTube. These are all the tools this single MCP can do. Create update files, search repositories, create repositories, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty impressive, right? So let's test it out by creating a new GitHub repo. Now, I'm going to go into the browser. I'm going to show you that this account has 0 active repositories. So let's just see if this works. Okay, called MCP tool, create a repository. And that should be it. Great, repository now created. I'm going to refresh the site. And just like that, our Cursor agent created a brand new repository. This is insane, guys. This is the future of working with Cursor. If you cannot see the implications of this, really take a deep breath and look into the future. The AI models available inside of Cursor are only going to get better. There are only going to be more and more MCPs. So all we will do is just like type what we want inside of Cursor agent, and especially if you have YOLO mode turned on, which I would highly recommend you to do, and which is actually the next step on our vector list, right? So we did set up the GitHub MCP. The next step is to turn on YOLO mode, because this takes it to the next level, right? So again, in the cursor settings, click on features and then scroll a bit down until you see enable YOLO mode. Click on this to enable it, and now the cursor agent can activate the MCPs without you having to approve every single one. So I can say like, create a new README file, upload it to GitHub to our new repo. Boom, it chooses to create one because it realized, okay, it doesn't have any active files. And then great, I've created and uploaded a comprehensive readme.md file. We're gonna switch back to GitHub, click on the repo, and there it is, a readme file that's formatted properly, created in like 2 seconds. This is insane, guys. We're living in the future. I'm not joking. Please pay attention to this video. And actually, after you finish watching this video, go through it one more time and set this up in your cursor. Because if you have a few MCP servers in your cursor, you have an insane advantage over everybody else. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. And again, this is just one MCP. Just wait until you see what the second one does. You don't even have to specify which tools to use. See, all I said is create a new README file. It checked the file contents, realized that, okay, there is no README file. So I guess the next thing I have to do is create or update a file. Now, one pro tip, right? If you're having trouble with the cursor agent not recognizing tools, or maybe you want to tell it which tools to use and which tools to avoid, what you can do is actually you can create a new folder named .cursor, and in this you can create a new subfolder named rules, and in this folder you can create a new file named mcp.md, and here you can put in all instructions for the MCP server. So I can say instructions for MCP servers, and then you can do, GitHub, and then you can give it all the tools like, get file contents, create or update file, and stuff like that. It works the same as a cursor rules file, right? But this lets you have more specialized files for even more control over how cursor behaves. By the way, if you want to see more AI tutorials like this, please subscribe. It tells me that you guys are actually enjoying this content and that I should make more in-depth technical tutorials like this one. So again, if you want to see more stuff like this, make sure to subscribe. Okay, so now let's move to the second MCP server, which if I had this when I was building Vectel, right? Vectel is my AI startup. If I had this MCP from the beginning, man, it would have saved me at least a week, maybe even 10 days. I mean, I'm talking about a week of development time, 7 full days of full-time work. This MCP would have saved me if I had it inside of Cursor from the beginning. So let me show you how to set this up. First, we need to go to this domain right here. And again, I'm going to link it below the video. Once you go in here, scroll down a bit until you see installation and the git clone command. So first thing, we have to copy this command right here. If you don't know what is this, like David, I don't understand terminal, whatever, don't worry, take a deep breath, no need to panic. We have tools like Cursor right now. Cursor agent is super powerful and it can run commands, especially if you enabled YOLO mode, which by the way, I'm going to show you how I set it up. So many people are missing out because they're scared to use YOLO mode inside of Cursor. What it does, it auto runs commands, terminal commands, without asking you for confirmation. However, this is simply a skill issue. Pay attention. This prompt you can leave empty, right? Command allow list, you can add stuff in here, or if there's only like certain commands you want it to run, add it into the prompt, right? But here's the important part. Command deny list. Here you should list out all of these commands and other commands you do not want Cursor agent to run ever. So as you can see, these are very malicious commands that I put into the deny list that will never be executed in Cursor agent with YOLO mode, right? But then even more important is this checkbox right here, delete file protection. If enabled, it prevents the agent from deleting files automatically. This is amazing, right? Because you don't have to worry about Cursor agent accidentally deleting some important file and messing up your project. So if you properly set up these two things, you absolutely don't have anything to fear about with YOLO mode, and it will save you so much time, especially with MCPs, because it can run all of these MCP tools automatically by itself. Okay, so again, copy this command right here, and let's go into our Cursor agent. Actually, I'm going to create a new chat just for clarity, and I'm just going to say run this terminal command. Boom, and I'm going to give it this command. And just make sure you use an AI model that can run the terminal. Currently, all of the Claude models are fine. GPT 4.5, while it's amazing, right now Cursor didn't give it the ability to automatically run terminal commands. So just go with Claude 3.7 Sonnet. Run this and say I'll run the git clone, boom, generating command, automatically runs it. And we can see on the right, we have cloned the repo. So this is like that easy, right? You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to run any terminal, opens terminals. No. When you enable YOLO mode and when you have Cursor agent, it will do all of the terminal stuff for you. We really are living in the future, guys. Anyways, go to the folders. By the way, you might have this on the left. I just have it on the right because I don't want my camera to be covering the chat. But by default, Cursor, VS Code, Windsurf have the files on the left and have the chat on the right. So don't be confused by that. Everything is the same. The next thing we need to do is install the Chrome extension. That way, this MCP can work, right? So go into the top right of your browser. Doesn't matter if you use Chrome, Brave, whatever. Just go to Manage Extensions, right? Find the extensions and click on Manage Extensions. Then on the top right, you need to enable Developer Mode. By default, it is disabled. But if you enable it, you will see these three options right here. We need to click on Load Unpacked. So again, go to Extensions, Manage Extensions, enable Developer Mode and click on Load Unpacked. Then we need to navigate to where you just cloned this GitHub repository, right? So this is cloned in our code folder. So let's click on Code, Browser Tools MCP, and then Chrome extension. Then click on Select, and boom, there it is. We just successfully imported the Browser Tools MCP Chrome extension. The step after that is to set up the Browser Tools MCP inside of Cursor, the same way we did with the GitHub one, right? So again, settings, Cursor settings, just like we did, and MCP. Once you're in here, we can click on Add New MCP. Let's go back, and we need to get this exact command, right? So give it a unique name, such as Browser Tools. Basically, this just cannot conflict with any other MCPs you have, right? So obviously we have only GitHub, so this name is completely fine. As for type, make sure it's command. For most MCPs, like 90%, it will be command, but sometimes you might need to do SSE. So just follow the tutorial, whatever MCP you're using, right? There are sites like Smithery that have a list of MCPs that you can do. Again, use them at your own risk because sometimes these MCPs are developed by random people, right? Like if you use some of these most popular ones, you're probably going to be fine. But if you use an MCP with like 7 downloads, again, I would be very careful. Anyways, let's go back in here and let's copy this command. And again, I'm going to leave these below the video to make it as easy as possible for you guys. Switch to Cursor and paste in the command right here. Click on Add. And now we have the second MCP inside of Cursor, and there it is. It's green. Once it's green, we know we're good to go. So you might be thinking like, David, okay, you didn't even explain what this MCP does. Well, this MCP is basically your professional debugger. Imagine hiring a programmer to debug your code, right? Vibe coding is amazing. You can code, you can easily create new files. Vibe debugging is much harder. Well, thanks to this MCP, it just became 5 times easier. Let me show you. Actually, there's one more step we have to do. We have to start the Browser Tools server. So let's copy this command right here. Let's switch to Cursor. I'm going to create a new chat. I'm going to tell it, run this command. And then this is a good tip. When you use Claude 3.7 Sonnet, make sure to say, do not do anything else. Because this model has a tendency to over-deliver, right? It goes crazy sometimes, and it tries to do way too much stuff. So it's good to tell it, like, do not do anything else. All right, so now it started the server. You can click on Pop Out Terminal. That way it's not blocking the chat. And now the MCP server is actually running for the Browser Tools MCP. So how can we know that, right? How do we know it's running? Well, let's say we switch to any web app, such as Vectel. I'm going to open the Chrome DevTools console by pressing F12, or you can just do right-click and inspect element, right? Now, when you do this, you will notice one thing. You see at the top, Browser Tools MCP started debugging this browser. And actually, we can go to the right side where we have, console, network, stuff like that, and click on these 2 arrows to the right and select Browser Tools MCP. And here we can see what it can do, right? So it can capture a screenshot, wipe all the logs, and we can actually save the screenshot path. So if you wanted to take screenshots, just add a path to your computer where you save your pictures, whatever, and add it in here, and it can take screenshots by itself. It's insane, right? So let's switch to Cursor and actually test it out. So as you can see, it has a lot of different tools this MCP can do. Get console logs, console errors, network logs, network success logs, screenshot, and selected element. Again, this is basically your professional front-end debugger. All right, so let's say I'm in Vectel right here and I don't like the padding of something, right? I can select an element and say like, okay, this, boom. I'm gonna say, check the selected element and suggest how we could reduce the padding. This is a super simple prompt, right? You could see like, okay, the padding is here. If we lower the number, it should be simple. But look what it does. I'll check with the selected element, call MCP tools, get selected element, take a screenshot, boom, and say based on the selected element, I can see it has a class of px10 py6, which is tailwind CSS, padding on the left, padding on the right. Here are my suggestions to reduce the padding. And let me tell you, this is insanely useful. So let's say you're inside your app that you're building, right? And there is like something that's really acting up. You don't know which div it is, which component it is. You can simply select it. You can tell Cursor agent, okay, I've selected the element. help me debug this, help me change it. Which file does this element reside in, right? Sometimes you don't even know, if you have a very large code base, which front-end file is controlling that exact element and how to change it. Well, now with this MCP, it just became so insanely easy. It's crazy. And again, this is just the first tool it can do. Let's do another one. So let's say I go into Vectel. Okay, let me disable this and I create a new task, right? I'm going to name it add voice input into Vectel. By the way, this is something that we're releasing literally tomorrow. There's going to be a voice button right here. It's going to get crazy. Vectel is getting updates nearly every single day. No other software is improving just as fast as Vectel. So if you're one of the people that really like to be hyper productive, and if you're using like old school task lists like Notion, Todoist or whatever, switch to Vectel. We have built-in AI agents that literally save you time, organize your tasks, help you create new tasks, help you do web research on your work, and just make your life so much more easier. And since we added the free plan, you can try Vectel for free. So go to vectel.ai, sign up, move all of your tasks, all of your projects work over to Vectel. I promise you won't regret it. Anyways, so now that we set up the browser tools MCP, we need to test out the other tools it can do. And the console one is really crazy. So let's say we added a new task and now there is stuff in the console, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, check the stuff in our web console and explain what's going on. So maybe when there are errors, right? When something is going completely wrong, you would say this, it already knows which tool to call, guys. This is the crazy part is, you don't have to, and there is error, right? Obviously, right now it is buggy because Claude 3.7 just released, but this is not an issue with MCP. This is an issue with Anthropic being insanely overloaded. There's a very easy way to check that. If you go to status.anthropic.com, you can see all the errors happening. And the last few days, there have been a lot of errors. So just keep in mind, this is related to Claude 3.7, Sonnet, and how insanely popular it is. But the best advice I can give you is that if you run into any errors, do not take them personally. All errors are solvable, especially with tools like Cursor, Vectel, where you can literally use cutting-edge AI models such as Claude 3.7. And actually, recently, not many people know this, recently we added GPT 4.5. That's right. Anyone on Vectel Pro can use GPT 4.5 in their chat, which, by the way, right now, you can only access on ChatGPT Pro for $200 a month, which is just crazy, right? Vectel Pro costs only $30 a month, and you get so much other stuff, such as Ultra Search, which is literally powered by Perplexity Deep Research. Let me show you this feature because this is super underrated. How do I install Cursor on my MacBook, right? Anything you can ask it, anything. And here it is. Ultra Search is a very powerful web search agent. I would argue it's one of the best in the world. Why? How can I say that? Well, it's built on top of Perplexity Deep Research. So a lot of you are already paying $20 a month for Perplexity Pro, right? There is absolutely no need for that. In Vectel, you get Perplexity Pro in the chat for free. But the big difference between Ultra Search and all the other deep research features is that in Vectel, we take all of your tasks, all of your user context into consideration. So whatever the search results are, they'll be super relevant to you and to you only. This is why Ultra Search is one of the most useful web search agents in the world and why all of Vectel users are absolutely loving it. And again, you can start using it for free if you want to have nearly unlimited access to this, as well as reasoning, GPT 4.5, Claude 3.7 Sonnet, DeepSeek R1. I mean, we have so much stuff inside of Vectel. All of that is available on Vectel Pro. Just go to vectel.ai, set up a free account, and I promise you won't regret it. So let's see how this MCP works, right? So I said, check the stuff in our web console and explain what's going on. If you are not a front-end developer, like me, you would be completely confused by what's going on in the console, right? There's like stuff in here, you don't know what's happening, especially when there's errors. Right now, it's pretty simple, but when there are random errors happening, it can get really confusing real quick. Trust me, I built this startup myself with no previous experience, and I wasted many, many days debugging front-end errors. I just wished I had set up MCP sooner. So don't make the same mistake as me. Sit down for 30 minutes and set up these MCPs. It will save you time forever, for the rest of your life. From this simple prompt, again, this is written in plain English. Even a child can type this. Check the stuff in our web console and explain what's going on. Super simple English. And look what Cursor Agent does. So this is why I would highly recommend you set up YOLO mode. If you did not have YOLO mode, you would need to approve all of these and a click, click, click. That's not agentic. That's not autonomous agents, right? Don't be scared, enable YOLO mode and just sit back and save yourself time. So from this simple prompt, Cursor Agent called 4 different MCP tools. Get console logs, get console errors, get network error logs, and get network success logs. Guys, If you were to do this manually, if you were to go in here and say like, okay, what's in the console, you click through this, you read through this, okay, what's happening in the network, blah, 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 okay, I'm gonna complete this, then there's some stuff, okay, you debug this. It takes so much time. You can just type in a prompt. This took me like 5-7 seconds to write. Then Cursor explains it. So as you can see, this is a super simple explanation to what's happening inside of all these front-end Chrome DevTools things that if you are not a front-end developer, you would have no chance understanding. And if you ran into an error, which will happen sooner or later, especially if you do vibe coding, right? If you're using tools like Cursor, Bold.new, Lovable, you will run into errors. Building with these tools is fun. It's easy. You can get an MVP running super fast. Debugging and solving errors is much, much harder. But if you set up these two MCPs, you're already ahead of 99.9% of people. And I truly mean that. 99% of people will not take the time to set this up. And maybe if the console logs are enough, there is a tool, take screenshot, right? So it can even take a screenshot of your entire front end, which again, you could do that manually, but why would you? Why would you spend like multiple seconds like, okay, there's a screenshot, boom, I'm gonna copy this to clipboard, go into Cursor. All of this is friction. All of this is slowness. You can literally have the Cursor agent doing this within split seconds if you have YOLO mode enabled and if you have this MCP setup. Guys, I really urge you to take a deep breath and look into the future, because this is only the beginning. Imagine how this will look like in 3 months. Imagine how this will look like in 6 months. There's going to be more and more MCPs, and the MCPs are going to become more and more powerful. New AI models are being released literally every week. Cursor is being updated multiple times a week. MCPs are being added every single day. In 6 months, all we will have to do is type what you want to create in plain English, and Cursor agent will do the rest for you. This is why you have to take action today. Set this up today so that you are ready when these things come, and you don't scramble at the last possible moment when it's already going mega viral, right? And when the adoption curve has started, and when your Uber driver or your cashier is talking about like, oh, are you building AI agents? Are you using Cursor? That's too late. You want to be at the cutting edge. You want to have the first mover's advantage, which means you have to take action now. I know this video is a bit long and it maybe is not the simplest video you've seen, but if you do these steps, anybody can do them. I don't care if you're 13 years old. I don't care if you're 80 years old. You can do these steps, even if you're not a programmer. And now speaking from experience, guys, I've built Vectel.ai, a full startup with like 8,000 active users. Currently, that's making over $10,000 a month. Yesterday, we literally hit 10K MRR. This startup is worth already hundreds of thousands of dollars if I were to sell it today. And I built it with Cursor. Speaking plain English with AI. Guys, wake up. You can do this. All of you can do this. I never built a startup before, and I did it. Took me 2 months, sure, but 2 months is better than 2 years. Without Cursor, it would have taken me at least a year. This is the future. This is the moment where things are happening. So please, don't be one of the majority. Don't be one of the mediocre people that watch this, don't take any action, and then just, go and watch TV or watch Netflix. This has actually been requested by members of the New Society. So people in the New Society have told me, David, we want a tutorial on MCP, and that's what I made it. So by the way, if you want to have influence over which videos I make sure to join the New Society. This is an exclusive community with over 700 people at the cutting edge of AI. And what's even better is that in the classroom, we have a lot of exclusive content, such as how to build your first AI agent, how to make your first $1,000 with AI, and how to build an AI startup, where I outlined every single step from day one of me building Vectel, from choosing the idea to literally setting up the project in Cursor to current day where Vectel just crossed $10,000 MRR, monthly recurring revenue. All of that you can access in the New Society and much, much more. There's a lot, right? So if you're serious about AI and if you want to be at the cutting edge, make sure to join the New Society. It's going to be a link below. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you found this video valuable. If you did, make sure to subscribe. And if you are a professional, someone, manager, programmer, content creator, business owner, go to Vectel.ai and sign up. This is the future of productivity. Forget all the other non-intelligent task management tools, right? This one is all you need. We're using advanced AI agents powered by the latest and greatest AI models, such as GPT 4.5 and Claude 3.7 Sonnet, to save you as much time as possible. And not only can you get started for free, you can also join the Vectel Discord server, which by the way, the button is in the bottom right, and you can literally see every single day updates. If you run into some bug, report it, and within a few hours, our developers will fix it. Nearly every single day, we're pushing new updates, bug fixes, and improvement to Vectel. I don't think there's many other software companies that can say that. So again, go to Vectel.ai, sign up, move all of your tasks over, and I promise you won't look back. With that being said, thank you guys for watching and have a wonderful, productive week. See ya.